who all got one and who didn't, but I'll try to pronounce the words correctly. This is from Alan Woolworth. He's the former Minnesota State archaeologist and a retired research fellow at the Minnesota History Center. Dear David, January 22nd, 2009. Thank you for taking Kevin Callahan and myself on a tour of your property in mid-December 2008. It was interesting to see the many deer tracks and other evidences of their presence in the area, also other animals such as rabbits. We were interested in the large boulder near the spring on the edge of your property and believed that a more intensive examination should be made when the ground was not frozen or snow-covered. The Kaposia Band of Mdewakanton Dakota Indians, led by various chiefs from the late 18th century onward of the Little Crow dynasty, hunted, fished, and trapped in this region from about 1500 AD to 1853, when they were removed to a reservation on the upper Minnesota River. They camped on the higher ground, such as your land, where breezes kept some insect pests away, and hunted deer, trapped muskrats in shallow marshes, and gathered wild plant foods around the many lakes in the region, In the spring, they made maple sugar from maple sap and fished, and also hunted abundant waterfowl. If sufficient time were available, we could search this area for signs of their many camps and perhaps burials. I have examined Newton H. Winchell's The Aborigines of Minnesota, but find nothing about this locality. Archaeologists of that era surveyed along the Mississippi River and lakes like White Bear Lake. They did not often examine smaller lakes such as those in your locality. As I have pointed out above, this region was undoubtedly used by local Mdewakanton hunters, trappers, and camps for hundreds of years. It would be unfortunate if the land surface was damaged by housing or commercial developments. Places with open space, wildlife, and unusual plants, such as this near large cities, are rapidly becoming scarcer and scarcer. Sincerely yours, Alan R. Woolworth, historian and archaeologist. I talked to some people from the Indian Affairs Council up in Bemidji, Jim Jones and Pete Palma. This was about what I suspect might be a Vision Quest boulder on my property that was pointed out to me by Ron Cockrell of the Maplewood Historic Preservation Office. I know that my property is not in Maplewood, but what we're addressing here is the question of the archaeological significance of the area. And that certainly includes this triangle property in Maplewood from Ritchie Place that is pretty much exactly where I found those suspected artifacts that the anthropology department at the U of M said appeared to be real. And if they were authenticated, it would be rewriting history. Well, I'm finding that rewriting history is no easy task. And, but at the suggestion of Jim and Pete with the Indian Affairs Council, they suggested I talk to a Dakota elder. So I've been talking to the Mendota community and some people there, and they have expressed interest. That's about as far as I've got so far. So I hope it's been taken in good grace.
Thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Nephew?
I just would like to throw out there that this property is in foreclosure, and I would bet that anyone who has the money to acquire it for preservation because of its archaeological significance could probably find a willing seller. Again, we as a city don't have the money to do that. In the meantime, it's private land. Quick question for staff. If in the course of excavating a site, something that indicated a earth-shattering archaeological discovery came up, what would happen?
Mayor and Council, all properties are governed by a uniform interpretation of the code, and that is you find that you have to immediately stop, have it analyzed. The Historic Society and